ordered liberty under God. Biblical truth and the American constitutional tradition. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. 2 Corinthians 3 verse 17 KJV. Liberty is not merely a political arrangement or cultural preference. It is a moral trust. Both Scripture and the American founding tradition recognize that freedom must be grounded in truth, restrained by law, and sustained by virtue. The Bible teaches that true liberty flows from obedience to God, while the architects of the American Republic designed a constitutional system that assumes human fallenness and therefore limits power. Together, these sources present a unified vision of ordered liberty, freedom protected by moral responsibility and institutional restraint. The biblical understanding of human nature provides the starting point for this vision. Scripture offers a sober assessment of the human heart. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17 verse 9 KJV. This acknowledgement of mankind's fallen condition does not lead to despair, but to wisdom. Because human beings are capable of selfishness, corruption, and abuse of authority, unchecked power becomes dangerous. This theological realism strongly influenced the political philosophy of the American founders. That influence is evident in the Federalist Papers, particularly in James Madison's reflections on constitutional design. In Federalist No. 51, Madison famously observed, "If men were angels, no government would be necessary." This statement mirrors the biblical diagnosis of human nature. Government is necessary not because people are inherently virtuous, but because they are not. Consequently, power itself must be restrained. The Constitution's system of checks and balances was not an expression of distrust in liberty, but an acknowledgement of human sinfulness and a safeguard against tyranny. However, both Scripture and the founders understood that structural safeguards alone cannot preserve freedom. Liberty requires virtue among the people themselves. The Apostle Paul warns believers, "Stand fast therefore in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage." Galatians 5 verse 1 KJV. Biblical liberty is not license to do as one pleases, but the freedom to live rightly. When self-discipline erodes, external control increases. Madison echoed this reality when he wrote that dependence on the people is the primary control on government, yet experience shows the necessity of additional precautions. A free society depends on citizens capable of governing themselves. The concept of ordered liberty also rests upon the rule of law. Scripture affirms that God values order, declaring, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace." 1 Corinthians 14 verse 33 KJV. Law, properly understood, restrains evil and protects the innocent. The American constitutional framework reflects this principle through the separation of powers. Madison warned in Federalist No. 47 that the accumulation of legislative, executive, and judicial authority in the same hands constitutes the very definition of tyranny. By dividing power, the Constitution seeks to prevent injustice born of human ambition and corruption. Yet the preservation of liberty ultimately extends beyond institutions into everyday life. Jesus taught, "If ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." John 8 verses 31 to 32 KJV. Truth is the foundation of freedom, both spiritually and civically. A nation cannot remain free if its people abandon truth in their personal conduct, families, churches, and communities. Voting, laws, and courts matter, but character matters more. The Bible summarizes this enduring principle with clarity and hope. "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." Psalm 33 verse 12 KJV. The American experiment in self-government was never intended to function apart from moral and religious foundations. Liberty to endure must be stewarded by a virtuous people and anchored in reverence for God. In conclusion, Scripture and the American founding tradition speak with remarkable harmony on the nature of freedom. Human sin necessitates limits on power, virtue sustains liberty, and law preserves order. A republic can endure only if its people remain committed to truth, responsibility, and self-government under God. Liberty is not self-sustaining. It must be kept, guarded, and renewed by each generation.